Kedua beradik ni. Abdullah.
Okey, baiklah, kita rasanya boleh mula. Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera tuan-tuan dan puan-puan yang dihormati sekalian. Bersempena dengan Hari Profesion Teknikal Negara 2020, anjuran Kementerian Kerja Raya dengan kerjasama Jabatan Kerja Raya, Fakulti Sains Komputer dan Teknologi Maklumat Universiti Putra Malaysia amat berbesar hati menganjurkan beberapa siri webinar yang mengangkat tema teknologi terkini dalam bidang teknikal, #Masa Depan Adalah Kita. Pada sesi webinar petang ini, kita amat bertuah kerana penyampai webinar ini tidaklah bukan adalah figura penting fakulti, iaitu Dekan Fakulti Sains Komputer dan Teknologi Maklumat yang berbahagia Profesional Technologies Dr. Rusli Haji Abdullah. Izinkan saya berkongsi sedikit pengenalan tentang diri beliau. Beliau adalah profesor di Jabatan Sistem Maklumat, mendapat kepakaran, mempunyai kepakaran yang diperakui knowledge management. Beliau telah menerbitkan lebih daripada 14 buah buku dan yang amat luas dalam bidang ini, juga telah mencapai ucap tama dalam beberapa buah conference di dalam dan di luar negara. Di samping itu, juga merupakan penerima 11 buah geran penyelidikan sebagai penyelidik utama sepanjang perkhidmatan beliau. Tanpa melengahkan masa lagi, saya, Dr. Salfarina Abdullah, sebagai moderator, dengan ini menjemput yang berbahagia Profesor Professional Technologies Dr. Rusli bin Haji Abdullah untuk menyampaikan webinar beliau yang bertajuk Striving Information System Management with IR4.0. Dipersilakan, Prof.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And good afternoon, everyone. So thank you, Dr. Safarina, for the, I would say that lengthy introduction about myself. And also, can I share my slide right now? Okay. Can you see my slide, Dr. Safarina?
Yes, Prof.
Okay, thank you. So, without the further delay, I want to start my discussion about striving information system management in industrial revolution 4.0. Based on what the Dr. Safarina mentioned earlier, this is for the benefit of those who are involved in the kind of technologies in conjunction with the Day of Technologies Day. So I want to share something that I thought that very important thing for the people outside there to understand the information system, especially in detail, how to manage IS, especially with regard to the IR4.0. So these are my table of content actually, right? So I was summarized already about what we want to have about information system management in the context of IR4.0. So my discussion today, I have a few things. Actually, I want to discuss about the IS, right, information system, and then IS with regard to the collaborative environment. And then I also to give some of the case study about the how IS actually can be related to the application so-called in higher education institution. And also, I want to also introduce some kind of IR4.0 and its application and the impact as well, especially in the higher education institution. And also, I will discuss the case study about the how to strive information system management with regard to the IR 4.0 in higher education. And lastly, I will end my discussion by issues and challenges, right? And of course, conclusion at the end. And I hope that I can open to Q&A after this, inshallah. Right, so for your information, once we talk about information system management, it is something that very important things to support and to manage the greater values of information, right? Which are available or that is available in the organization. I'm sure that we are actually get involved with a lot of information in our daily life, especially if I would consider if we are as a staff, we have staff information system. If we want to go for work, we have punch card. If we are in banking, we have banking information system and so on. So this capability of IS actually and other aspect can be viewed as a platform to deposit and reuse of the information for any kind of businesses for the benefit of community practice, or sometimes we call it as stakeholders, in order to strive or to increase their performance significantly. Especially that I want to emphasize today is based on higher learning or higher education institution, right? Which we want to see how IR 4.0 can help us, right? So let me try to understand what is IS actually, right? I want to discuss a little bit more on IS definition, but I just want to summarize. IS basically is something that to make sure that how information that we have based on data that we have in the organization can be collect, right? Can be stored, can be processed, and also can be disseminated, and also can be, can be provided us with the reports, right? So once we talk about the report, of course, the report actually is based on, if we're talking about information system in organization, of course, for instance, the report can be in terms of human resource, right? If we are in education system, the report might be in terms of education information system, right? For example, student report, lecturer report, and curriculum report, and many others. So these are the things that we can see. So in the normal business information system, for example, we have right now, for example, like eBay, right? Amazon, Alibaba. So they have their own marketplace. We call it as for the e-commerce system, we have a B2B, business to business e-marketplace, meaning to say that if you want to buy, so we are not need to go for the bank or for the market physically. We can go for e-market, e-marketplace, meaning that this is the beauty of information that we have right now. We can manage transaction, we can manage data easily from anywhere, right? So that's why by using IS, actually, generally, we are using internet-based for the as much as possible in order for socializing, for studying, for shopping, for banking, and for entertainment. So that's why in our case, but today I want to emphasize more on study aspect or education aspect, right? Right. So that is about information system. Let me try to understand what do we mean by information system management. I mentioned to you just now in information system, basically they are regarding on how to manage information. Since we want to manage the information system, we need to understand the IS management in terms of planning, all right? So since we're talking about planning, we need to talk about IS planning. If we're talking about infrastructure, there is more on content management. How do we manage the content? If we're talking about infrastructure, it is involved resources management or hardware management. And if we're talking about application development, this is regarding on how to manage the application and also, of course, we're talking about, performance and also security. These are very important things need to be considered once we talk about IS management, right? Right. This the next one actually I want to share with you all basically is how to we want to see information as a global world, meaning that how we can divide and how we can categorize the IS actually. For your information, in order to categorize the IS, so IS basically we can recognize by kind of IS. So in order to recognize the IS, normally based on the figure that I show you just now, we can have three type of IS. The first IS we call as start from the bottom to the top. We start by TPS as number one here, right? So this is called Transaction Processing System, and then followed by MIS and DSS. So these are the system on top of TPS, meaning that we try to do summarize and we try to get involved how to make use the transaction processing system as a report, for example, in order to formulate, in order to supply for the MIS, meaning that to use by the managers to do their decision making, right? And then, of course, the last one we have ESS, Executive Support System. These are another kind of information system that we can make use, right? So you can see from that, since we have talking about TPS, we have MIS, we have ESS, we can make use ESS, for example, for the purpose of strategic level management. And also we can make use MIS and DSS for the purpose of management level. And also for the transaction base, we are using this kind of system for the purpose of operational level system. So you can see in the pyramid, also in this diagram, if we're talking about business, normally they have business of, they call it as functional areas of business. So we have sales and marketing, for example, we have manufacturing and production, we have finance and accounting, and the last one is very important is HR, human resource. So these are the kind of IS that we can use for the purpose of the stakeholders or the purpose of community of practice in organization, right? Right, so let me try to understand how the information system process. This is very important actually. Since we have the ES, DSS, and MIS, so we can see how do they try to make processing about this. So you can see from the top one, normally, if for executive support system, right? Normally we are using graphical based information system. So meaning to say that we can this one actually is something like to show in the diagram, like bar chart, bar chart, and so on. And then on the second layer we have DSS. This is more on interactive and simulation. It's like analysis, right? And also the MIS, we come up with a model. And also this is something like we call it as a routine report, as I mentioned to you just now. This is a kind of report, right? And of course, the last one actually is TPS actually is something regarding on listing report or sorting report, something like that. So if we're talking about information as output, we have detail report, we have summary report, we have special report, and we have projection or prediction report, right? So these are the information or can be used for EAS, for DSS, and for MIS, and of course the last one, TPS, right? So these are the characteristics of information system where we can make use in terms of information as input, and then we process, and then we come out with the output. And this output can be used based on the users, right? For ESS, of course, senior manager or top management will use it. And for DSS, of course, the managers. And for MIS, actually, is a middle managers, right? And then the last one, of course, the operational personnel, like supervisors and so on. So these are the characteristics of information system process, right? So we see the example, and this is another example actually, right, of business information system, as I mentioned to you earlier. So we can see in terms of enterprise system is number one, and then followed by knowledge management and collaboration in information system. For your information, knowledge management actually is on top of information management. So that's why we have information system is the beginning, and then followed by knowledge management, right? Because the information that has been taken action become as a knowledge, because the knowledge can store the best practice and also the what you call it, the lesson learned. So this lesson learned actually is a part of knowledge management and can be worked together or can work collaboratively among the community of practice. So that's why on top of that, we are also have data warehouse, right? It's a data repository. Sometimes right now it's more popular, we call it as IM, yeah, intentional memory, yeah, as IM or intentional memory. That this kind of data can be used for reporting, can use for decision making, right? Something like, of course, they are using for the data warehouse, normally involve data mining for reporting, and then we have expert system, and of course, we have the artificial intelligence, AI, to support this, especially to work with the agent technology, right? How to we can make use the agent technology for information dissemination, alert system, notification system, and also recommendation. So these can be done through agent technology, which are part of artificial intelligence, right? Right. Now, let me try to understand in detail as a part of the information system management framework. For your information, I try to summarize this kind of framework into four pillars, meaning that we have people, we have process, we have technology, and we have management. So those pillars actually is working together. I will show you in detail after this, once we see how information system can be worked for higher institution education, right? So you can see after this, right? Now, seeing we're talking about the framework, as I mentioned to you earlier. So these are the environment, these are the organization, these are the information system by itself, meaning we have input, we have process, we have output. So this output actually can be used, and then can, you see, this is a cycle of information using, the life cycle of information that has been used, meaning that the information can be reused, can be generated, and this kind of information can be, can be upgraded, can be utilized for the purpose of who are the users actually, or stakeholders. For example, if we're talking about the managers, we use, summary report. If we go for the top management or senior managers, they will use the summarize or something like a bar chart, something like that. Yeah. So this is a kind of, the framework that has been done based on this data life cycle, right? Or information life cycle. Meaning that from data to be input to the processor, and then the processor will be processed and come up with the output, right? So based on what kind of information system that we are looking for. Okay, next one. I try to share with you something related to the how do we work with collaborative environment. So meaning to say that we can promote knowledge, information sharing, right? So meaning that we can collaborate. So once we collaborate, so the collaboration can be like this. You see, if we have information A, we have information B, C, D, and E. So this information actually can be integrated or can be collaborated. You see, that's why in the system that we have right now, so this is also is a part of IR4.0. You see, the system actually has been integrated together, So that's why if you see in Malaysia, for example, we have MyEG, for example. From MyEG, the system will be integrated to the bank, right? For looking your money, for any kind of transaction that involve for certain thing. For example, you want to renew your right tag, they will go for bank or to see your money, you have money or not, for the purpose of renewing insurance. And then you can go for the road transport department in order to renew your road tax. So they are also involved another kind of system. They go back to the banking system. So this system actually is working together. So this is kind of collaboration. We call it as collaborative information system. So that's why in this case, collaborative information system actually is very important to us, right? So once we talk about collaborative information system, these are the example of how we make use collaborative system, information system management in higher education, right? So we can see in terms of this one. And this is what I was mentioned to you earlier. We have person, meaning that we have people, we have technologies, right? We have pillars, we have, in terms of what you call it, for the purpose of in the higher education institution, of course, we have people as a human, like students, researchers, and the technology might be used email, yeah, bulletin board, this video conferencing, like what we have today, right? Zooming and so on. And then we have discussion room, and then of course the most important thing is content management, right? So these are the example. And then how the system is look like. So the system actually can be separated, but we can integrate together. So that's why sometimes information become as a portal. We call it as a information portal. So the information portal become as a cloud-based, and then they can communicate with other system, right? And then, okay, that's all about information system. Now I think I'm trying to highlight some of the importance of IR4.0. So these are the what are the basic definition of IR4.0. Okay, so I hope that you understand what already. We are here actually, Industry 4.0 actually is come from Industry 3.0, 2.0, and 1.0, right? So we are actually today that we have. So that's why we can see from here, everything is connected, right? Everything is connected. That's why in IR4.0, we have sort of, cloud, right? And then we have sort of artificial intelligence, right? We have something like artificial intelligence, meaning that we have advanced robotics, right? We have additive manufacturing, we have augmented reality, and then we have big data, right? So these are the things that has been covered in the application of IR4.0. And on top of that, right? So those are actually connected each other, something like this. And then, of course, this is very interesting because this is when we talk about IR4.0, it is related to the, IoT, right? So when we talk about IoT, it is involve IoT for the purpose of, health, for example. Actually, it's involve everyone, actually, yeah? Inclusive, it's not listed here, actually, it's education, right? So home might be right now, people working at home, so learn from home and many others. So we can see how the home actually is play major role right now in IoT environment. Okay, Chairman, Mr. Chairman, Dr. Safrina.
Yes, Prof.
We have how many minutes more?
I think we still have a lot more time. Don't worry, Prof. I will signal you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, right. I want to continue again. How do we make use of IR4.0? Of course, if we're talking about data, right? If we're talking about data, this is a very basic instrument that need to be generated, need to be, manipulated to become as information. So this is, as I mentioned to you, the data actually is the original, it's the heart of the information system, right? So meaning from the data we manipulate become information, of course, from the information become knowledge and so on. So the data actually we manipulate, of course, as an instrument. And then we have the connectivity. Connectivity actually is very important because we can create information network, right? Information network. And this is what we want to see in terms of how do we want to ensure that the system actually of information system actually can be work together, right? Collaboratively. And of course, they will involve the context. Once we talk about the context for information, if we're looking for higher education institution or any kind of department in Malaysia or in the world, we are talking about industry knowledge, right? So data to the network, for example, like weather, like education, like financial, like stock, for example. We can see somewhere here, yeah. So these are the content of data. So that's why if talking about stock, for example, right, share. Well, once I talk about stock, actually it's about share. So this is you can see our currency, for example. It's very easy to be include or to be assessed right now, yeah. And then of course the last one, data that we have, information that we have. we can create in terms of intelligent decision making, yeah, for the intelligence component. So you can see from here, what industry 4.0 can become enablers to design, to make, and to use. And of course, the last one actually is very important, to use. So we, by using the IR4.0 together with the information system, we can manage carefully, we can manage easily, we can manage sort of, friendly, so they can give us satisfaction. And also, of course, we want to make sure that they are safe. And also, right now we have sensor. This is another kind of IR4.0. They can send us. Since they can send us, they can help us to recommend, actually, to recommend, to predict, to forecast. These are the things that we want, actually. Based on the information that we have, we can predict for the future. This is something that information that we have today, we can know what will happen by tomorrow. This is the beauty of information that we have by today. Of course, AI actually is very play important role over here, right? So you can see over here also design. We can have integration part, as I mentioned to you just now. We can have prediction. Yes, this is a part of the design. And then of course, the most important thing, once we have information system in our organization, we can create a lot of innovation process, a lot of information business process. For example, I don't know whether you all aware or not. I don't know, during my time, 10 years ago, if I want to buy, I have to go for physically at the shopping complex. But now, if I want to buy, I don't need to go there. I can buy virtually. This is something that we can innovate the process. Instead of we are going, they are coming. So meaning to say that instead of we are pushing, we are pull, actually. If we want to go there, we are pull, actually. And if we want to go something, that are push, something that we use push and pull technology, right? Push and pull technology for the purpose of 4.0, right? Right. And these are another kind of 4.0, since we're talking about data and the service, okay? The data actually is very important as a part of, it's the heart of information system, right? Data. And the service, of course, the report, right? The report and the function. We can see how do we may involve the data, the internet of data and the services. This is involve industry. One talk of industry can be any kind of industry, like health, for example, like education, right? Like entertainment, like a commerce system. So there can be anything, right? Especially also in culture. You see, in culture, how do we can turn the normal culture of normal library, we can become as digital library, right? This is the beauty of IS right now. You see, how do we create the university, for example, for higher education, we can create e-university, right? By using the information system, meaning that everyone is connected and we can produce something like, virtually, yeah, physically, virtually and electronically, right? So that's why in this case, we have e-service, right? You see, e-service actually, the service that provide to us actually is electronically. So if we want to buy, we can buy by using, e-banking. We can buy by using e-shopping, like what we have right now. Lazada, for example, Shopee, for example, Amazon, for example. These are the kind of how do we can buy electronically. So once we're talking about service, they are also involved. You can see from here, energy, mobility, and logistics. We have e-logistics. We have e-energy. You see? We're talking about smart grid, right? We have talking about smart meter. And then we have mobility. Of course, we have smart logistics. We're talking about manufacturing. We have smart factory and also smart product. So these are the kind of information system can be formulated for the purpose of community or stakeholders by using the IR4.0. The most important thing also right now, since we have the pandemic, right, COVID-19, you can see here how we make use in healthcare, for example. Yeah, we have smart health and also we have smart seniors. This is for those who are goes to the age of retirement and so on. Okay, so you can see we have the sensor cloud. standard and regulation, people and work, and also security. This is a very important thing since we have Internet of Things. Internet of Things. Right. So these are also the kind of application that we can see in terms of how do we create smart actually, smart of everything. And the important thing is here, information sharing. This is another important thing. Once we have IR4.0, we working in smart. So smart school, smart university, smart library, smart of everything. So we are also can have sort of smart information sharing. Yeah. So it's easier to us right now. So that's why we call it as information at our fingertips, right? So very easy to access actually. Okay. So let me see the impact. So since we have IR4.0, of course, if we're talking about higher education institution, so the impact actually, of course, we can see a lot, especially for the lecturers. Yeah. So if you see the method, the way how we teach the student right now is not similar with the previous one, right? So meaning you can see how do we work right now? Yeah. Almost, I would say that almost online. Yeah. Online, meaning that through digital or form. Yeah. We have the client side, we have the server side, or the server side, of course, the lecturer side. And then we have the student, the way how the student, how will the student learn actually. Also, we have to see their impact, their behavior actually. How do they need to change their life? Instead of going to school face to face, now we can make the lecturer, we can teach the student can learn. So you can see, can make up and 24 divided by 7, right? You can see that the 24 divided by 7. So of course, in terms of the content, and of course, in terms of the learning space look like, right? The role of lecturers will be differ, will be changed, and then the role of students also will be changed. And lastly, the attribute of the student also need to be changed, right? I don't know whether you're aware or not. Our behavior, our attitude. Before this, we found that everything actually someone can give to us. Now, by using technology, as I mentioned to you right now, we are using push and pull technology. They will remind you. They will alert you. Yeah, and sometimes not they will alert and they will remind you. They will stop you. Yeah, if you are not follow the rule. Because, for example, if you want to be top up, for example, top up for the handphone, the system will remind you 1, 2, 3 or 3 times, something like that. After that, the service will be shut down. Since you are not continuing to pay for the service, that is the kind of we have to see our attribute in terms of in terms of hardworking, in terms of passion and so on. So this kind of the attribute of the lecturer and student need to be seen as well. So that's why the logic of education system should be reversed so that the system that can comfort the learners rather than the learners to the system. So at last, what we want to see actually is something regarding on how do we can make it information is more personal, personalized information system, they call it, right? So that's why in this case, once we have personalized information system, we can go digital, we can make use the digital technologies as a whole, right? So that's why in this case, we can, this is the essence of personalization, meaning personalization and digital technologies. Okay? Right. So this is, since I'm talking about striving, so this is the example of how do we strive information system in higher education institution, right? I give you the 3 case study that I made to myself. Actually, how do we use the information as a service in the cloud computing, right? Information as a service in the cloud computing, and also how do we work based on collaborative information system with information resource, information system resource as a service, and also how do we make use IS as a service, right? Number 1, information as a service. Now we're talking about IS as a service. So you can see from here, since we're talking about cloud you have to understand that the cloud basically talking about everything as a service, right? So meaning to say that we have platform as a service, we have software as a service, we have infrastructure as a service. So they are providing all those things. So once we have all those things, we create, since we have the software, and also the last one actually is data storage as a service, we can integrate this kind of four into the information-based system. We call it as info as a service. So it's something like we have, I don't know whether you're aware or not, we can create something like a blog, blog. So in the blog, we can write down everything over there, and then we can keep information. Yeah, we can write, meaning that we can deposit, we can keep, we can store, and then we can disseminate, and then we can organize. Depend how good are we to organize this kind of blog. So that's why in order to organize, we have information ontology. So once we have information ontology, meaning that it's something like we organize, like a folder, from A, B, C, D, something like cataloging. If you go to the library, I'm sure that you're familiar with the OPAC, right? OPAC means that online public access cataloging. So you know H for the purpose of what? Q for the purpose of what? It's easy to us to find the information that we have been stored. So that's why this one involves information ontology, right? So next one, actually, I'm talking about mobile information service, right? We can make use the mobile. Right now, of course, we are not looking for the portal only. We're talking about the mobile. Mobile, basically, we can access from mobile computer or something like smartphone, right? Smartphone. It is a good one right now, actually. It's easier. So that's why smart computer or smartphone actually, I don't know, it's a mandatory for everyone. Okay. Right. Besides that, we have, so-called, this is what I mentioned to you just now. Okay, the second one. This is just to make a summary of our mobile information system, right? Mobile information as a service, info as a service, right? And then the second one, we have a collaborative information system. Once we have collaborative information system, this is involved, you can see from layer A, layer B, layer C. From the layer A, actually we have resource, right? We have the info as a info resource as a service. So from the information resource as a service, we have IT as a service. IT means information technology as a service. And then we have RAS. RAS meaning that everything as a service for information, like infrastructure, like platform, like a software. So those become layer A, layer B, layer C. So these are the collaborative information system with info as a service. So this is a second case study. Okay, the third one, we have information system maintenance as a service, ISMAAS, right? So this you can see information system. Okay, I hope that you will still remember when we talk about information. So we need to have SDLC, Software Development Lifecycle, or Information Service, Information Development Lifecycle. Yeah. So once we have this kind of lifecycle, we can store information in the information repository. We call it as SM knowledge, right? So this is about how do we make use the information service in terms of IR4.0. Okay. Okay, last one. I want to discuss about the issues and challenges. Since we're talking about information as a service in terms of striving information system, so we have a lot of issues need to be considered, right? But these issues actually is not to be worried because we can solve it. Just to highlight, because the most important thing actually, once we talk about information system management in IR4.0, so of course all are related to the information digitalization and information integration, right? And also we are also talking about innovation in digitalization of the business process, right? And also the digitalization of the product and services, as I mentioned to you just now. We are going more on e-services, right? E-services, and then e-system, and all are E's actually. And the last one, of course, we're talking about data analytics, right? So this is also part of the strategic information system planning. need to be considered. One, we're talking about data analytics, because in the system integration, we have big data, right? We have big data. So once we have big data, for your information, big data actually is a part of the IS, because the big data actually promote the three V's, yeah, velocity, veracity, and also in terms of volumes, right? So on top of three V's, we can create the value, right? So that's why sometimes we have four V's, five V's, and many other V's, right? So in this case, data integration is very important in the era of IoT and also big data environment, right? So these are the challenges. On top of that, of course, the issue. On top of that, we have the challenges, right? The challenges here actually is, of course, the technology barrier by itself, because we want to avoid digital divide, right? So we have to see in terms of how to make sure that everyone has accessing to the information system, right? For example, rural and urban, thus everyone can access the information that technology, right? And then also the next one in terms of regulation, right? In terms of regulation and tariff. So once we have regulate, meaning that some of the information, for example, right now we're talking about security, right? So since we have information security system, the IS also need to be ensure that all are, based on the security regulation, right? And on top of that, of course, IS, for your information, is very important things to be considered right now for the purpose of intelligent information system. So once we have intelligent information system, they need to be regulated based on on top of that, we must have tariff, right? To work together with the regulation. And also, since we have the information around the globe, around the world, so we have to see in terms of the language that has been used. For example, if we use Lazada, for example, if we are using in Middle East, they are using Arabic. If we are in Malaysia, in Indonesia, maybe we are using Bahasa, for example. And we are, if we were in, in the language and the culture. And of course, the next challenges in terms of economic and political consideration. This is to show that how we can make use this information system actually as belong to everyone, right? So everyone can be assessed, yeah? Based on, as I mentioned to you just now. And then, of course, the last one is very important in terms of standardization, to make it standard. So this is to say there are different measurement standard need to be avoided. So meaning to say that this is very important also, for information system. We in information system development, we're talking about service-oriented architecture. This is to allow that the system with multiple platform can talk together, right? So that's why the standard is very important, right? And the last one, of course, involve legality, right? The legal means that how do we make use the, since we're talking about the cyber, for example, cyber society, yeah? So we have to come up with a cyber law, for example. So these are the things that need to be considered. So the last one, I can show in the diagram. So these are the, how do we see IR4.0 and its social values. They create the values actually, IR4.0. For example, as I mentioned to you just now, this is involved intelligence. So the intelligence right now, as I mentioned to you also, we are involved intelligent information system, right? And also integration information system and collaboration of information system. And this kind of information, since we are using push and pull technology, we are involved in social innovation. So meaning to say that the culture will be changed, right? In terms of the way, how do we work? Like what I mentioned to you, the impact in the University of Higher Education, for example, the impact for the lecturers, the impact of the student, and then how do they learn? How do they teach, for example, right? And then, of course, the last one in terms of sustainable manufacturing and sustainability, right? To make sure that we are sustained in terms of how do we make use information system by using the IR 4.0. So this is something that what we call it is what about knowledge. So on top of the information that has been taken action become knowledge. So this is about what about knowledge, right? So as a conclusion, so collaborative motion system activities contribute to strive or to increase the performance in creating leadership skills, social culture, and development curriculum for the higher institution. Of course, we have to build up the new curriculum to make sure that the way how do we teach, how do we think about teaching and learning can be different, and also involve multi kind of businesses, right? And also the last one, in terms of development, right, of the future IR 4.0 for the framework for IS with regard to the education system, as I mentioned to you, also need to be considered in terms of MOOC, for example, and also LMS, learning management system, right? MOOC actually is another kind of information system for content management of the courseware. We call it as massive object courseware, right? Massive online object course, right? And then the last one, education and service, significant element for the future workforce of IR4.0. And of course, and again, collaborative information system play a major role in IS for teaching, for applying, and also for creating and for disseminating. All right. So I think I have covered everything about how to make sure that IS can be strive by using IR4.0 for the benefit of community operatives or stakeholders. So with that, I end my presentation today. So I give back to the chairman for Q&A.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Yang Berbahagia Prof. Rusli, for very interesting presentation and knowledge sharing. So I would like to open saya buka ruang untuk sebarang soalan yang mungkin nak diajukan kepada Prof secara terus.
Kami dengar video bos kami cakap. Dari sini.
Ada soalan ke yang mungkin boleh diajukan secara terus kepada Profesor
Kakak
Rusli?
ada sini. Yalah.
Any question?
Any questions? Or boleh juga menggunakan di ruang chat.
Nampak dia, dia tanya. Tahu ni apa?
Okay, Dr. Safarina, can you read the question if you have the question?
Yeah. I have a question now. Prof, would there be any significant differences in terms of infrastructure and infrastructure requirement when applying ISM in IR 4.0 environment for government organizations such as in Ministry of Works? Because what we have heard just now is on HEI, right? So how about other organizations?
Okay, for the purpose of organization like JKR and so on, I think there are a lot of significant need to be considered in terms of requirement for the purpose of infrastructure and infrastructure. Basically, the way how we work actually is very important, right? For example, if we're talking about Department of Public Service, right? We can see in terms of starting from the acquisition, for example, the process of acquisition, the process of tender, the process of maintenance. So these are need to be used information in order to keep track, because this kind of information can help the engineers, to monitor in terms of maintainability, in terms of maintenance of the road, for example, in terms of maintenance of the building, for example. So these are the very important things need to be considered, because IS right now, we have, as I mentioned to you, we have intelligent information system, meaning that the system can be used as a storage to make sure that they can remind us, they can push us, they can alert us, something like that. So that's why for the purpose of any kind of department, information system right now should be upgraded, especially as I mentioned to you previously, we're talking about business information system, BIS, right? So we can see in terms of, reporting is very easy, right? For not just for the reporting, to get access the information as an information portal is very easy. So in other words, we can make use like data warehouse, for example, for data mining, right? So these are the kind of IS that we can be make use for the purpose of community of practice. Okay.
Okay, thank you for the answer. All right, I'm trying to look if there is any more questions. Okay. All right. So tiada lagi soalan. Mungkin saya boleh mungkin saya sikit apa yang telah dibentangkan, apa yang telah dikongsikan yang bagi Prof sebentar tadi, yang mana ISM ataupun Information System Management memainkan peranan yang menguruskan generasi informasi ataupun maklumat yang terdapat di dalam sebuah organisasi. Bila kita mengaitkan IS dengan IR4.0 dengan matlamat presentation ini ataupun ucapan Prof berkaitan dengan striving ISM with IR4.0 diberi dalam konteks HEI, rasanya sangat-sangat bermanfaat dan sangat-sangat berguna sebagai panduan mungkin untuk diguna pakai juga di dalam environment ataupun organisasi-organisasi yang lain. So jadi sekiranya Prof ada nak tambah apa-apa sebelum mungkin kita tamatkan?
So I think that's all. I hope that something can be benefit for everyone. Thank you very much.
Okay, terima kasih Yang Berbahagia Prof atas kesudian untuk menyampaikan atau berkongsi webinar pada hari ini, pada petang ini, dan terima kasih juga kepada semua yang sudi mendengar dan menghadiri webinar ini secara online. Bagi pihak fakulti saya mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih dan maaf di atas segala kekurangan.
Jumpa lagi. See you.
Okay, Prof. Terima kasih.
Sama.